I saw a really cool show called Paradise on Hulu in the year 2025 that I want to tell you about. But first, for the subscribers of this channel, let me let you know where I've been. I know I haven't been posting a lot lately. Two major things have been occurring. One, I've been working hard at getting to 100,000 subscribers on another channel of mine, Beyond the Harmony. For most of you guys, you probably won't want to see it. It's about the rap group Bone Thugs and Harmony from the 90s. There's still a large following for them 30 years later. And I've been wanting to get to that 100,000 subscriber milestone. And my personal channel here has been shadow banned since the year 2018. So I figured, it's going to be an uphill battle doing it here. I just needed to get to 100,000 just to feel the satisfaction that I finally made it. A lifetime of reluctant involvement in hip hop. It has now at least paid off. I have the trophy for it. I can now say, hey, at least it was worth this. 100,000. Not only that, total milestone for me being involved with video making. People wondering like, man, Lippy, you're always on YouTube making videos for YouTube. Does it pay off? I mean, the monetization, not so much, but this reward lets me know that my efforts were worth the time. And there's also some people that want to diminish whatever you're doing, downplay your impact, cancel your opinion on something. So now that I hit the 100,000, can't nobody really take that from me anymore. So anyway, now I'm going to try building up this channel to get this one to 100,000, because as much as I love seeing Beyond the Harmony, 100,000 subscribers, I'll love even more seeing Jonathan Lippy, 100,000 subscribers. I got a great team over at Beyond the Harmony, so it was fun working with them the whole way, staying motivated and whatnot. Anyway, that's been accomplished. That's the first thing that's been in my life. The second thing was in July of last year, I switched out of a job that I was working at for 20 years and went to a new company. And so I've been learning the ropes, and it's a lot to learn. So I haven't had disposable time that I'd feel comfortable making thought-provoking material for this channel. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you guys are like, dude, we don't really care about your life, man. Why are you telling us? I'm proud of this, man. I'm just happy. I'm doing good. Just wanted to, and in case you were wondering, like, where I've been, do I just not love you guys no more? No, I got a bunch of channels. I didn't want it that way. It's the way it had to be, just with the rules of YouTube. My Beyond the Harmony, Bone Thugs and Harmony podcast, 100,000. Can't take that away from me now. Milestone, life objective, bucket list, all those things. Validation is the most important. And now that I feel validated, now I don't care about it. I cared about it so much getting there. Now that I got it, it's in the past, it's earned, and now my spirit's opened up. Hopefully we're going to get to more juicy Jonathan Lippy type stuff here. So the reason we're here for this video is there's a TV show called Paradise. A friend of mine knew what I'm looking for in a TV show. What I'm looking for is a TV show has to tell you to your face that the world you think you live in is not what you think you live in. The world's an illusion. It's a simulation. You're being lied to. That's the requirement I have in order to invest my time to watch a show. So this show is called Paradise. It's on Hulu. There's a couple other shows called Paradise. So this one's Paradise for the year 2025 of the Hulu network. Also, spoiler warning. I don't care about spoilers. If you do, just don't even watch this video. Because the journey is the destination. It's not about the payoff. It's about what we learn along the way there. What he told me was, he said, hey, listen, just watch the first episode and watch it all the way to the end. You'll know why. And I'll let you know, right? So here's the spoiler. I'm watching the whole episode and I'm thinking, because he knows I'm into conspiracy, and the whole thing was about like Secret Service agents. And I'm thinking, does he think I care about politics this much that I'm curious about like how the Secret Service protects the president? But at the end of the episode was the big payoff, and that's where you find out that the guy is living in a false environment that was constructed by the government to protect it against like some kind of natural disaster catastrophe that was going to wipe out life on the surface of the earth. So that makes it technically in my language, a flat earth film, even though it's not about flat earth. But to me, any show where the world you think you live in isn't what it is, I call that a flat earth show. Because like on our earth, we all think because we're told we're on a rotating sphere that orbits the sun. That's what we all just believe, even though none of us have seen it. I'm not saying we live on a flat plane. I don't know what we're living on, but who knows? We were just told. If we were lied to about everything else, as I always tell my friends, listen, in order to fully control a population, everything that they believe down to the most foundational concept has to be wrong. And our most foundational concept is that our planet Earth rotates at 1,000 miles per hour and revolves around the sun at 66.6 thousand miles an hour, which these numbers are preposterous. But that's what we are required to believe. It's a requirement. You're not even allowed to say otherwise. And people that have never been to space will tell you how those numbers are accurate and real, and there's no other way. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Now, I told you the surface story about it being kind of like Cheyenne Mountain, but enormous. That's the surface level of the show. The way I interpret it is it's showing you how they reproduced a realistic looking world, even though the entirety of it was artificial. The entire sky was fake. And, when I watched that, I started to think, yeah, how much of our sky is fake? How much of our, how do we know we are really living on a planet? We don't know. And as you watch the full 8 episodes, you watch it. All right, this is how they fooled the people there. And then they needed to reboot the system in one of the episodes because, as you see on the screen right now, the sky got hacked. They hacked the sky and they put all these messages like, "Do you want to know the truth? They're lying to you." And the controllers of the environment that designed the whole place, they needed the people to stop seeing that. And in order to do that, they had to reboot the computer that made the display for the sky. And I noticed on our world, there's some nights where the sky doesn't turn black. It's just like it's still blue and it's just dark out and there's no stars. And I'm like, wait, how come the sky didn't turn black tonight? Some nights the sky is black and you see stars, and then other nights the sky is blue and there's no stars, and it looks like the guy that runs the projector didn't show up that day. Or I sometimes wonder, I'm like, do they just not turn on the sky at night every once in a while just for us to say, hey, how come no one turned the sky on tonight? Now, a strange coincidence occurred that I don't even know what the significance of it, because it's fairly insignificant, but the timeliness of how quick all these coincidences happened is worth reporting on. So the week that I saw like episode 3 of this show, I was just sitting there and all of a sudden I thought of the song "We Built This City on Rock and Roll" from the 80s. And I thought, I don't even know who sang that song. And it turns out that Starship, which I guess was once called Jefferson Starship, which was previously called Jefferson Airplane, sang "We Built This City." And I thought, how the heck have I heard this song a million times and I never knew that this was Starship? And I even thought, I was like, wow, I wonder if all of the bands of the 70s got all purchased by corporations in the 80s to make these like 80s one-hit wonder sounding songs in order to alienate the original base that they had. Like, this is how classic rock was destroyed by the corporation, and this is where the term "the sellout" originated. I don't know where sellout first came from, but I do remember in the 80s a lot of people lamenting that their favorite bands from the 70s all sold out, and it was like, oh yeah, they're all sellouts. And I didn't fully understand what that meant in the 80s, but I remembered hearing, oh, they're sellouts, and I'm like, I don't know, man, I kind of like the song. No, but you weren't there in the 70s, man. So I thought about that, and I just thought, wow, why did this song pop in my mind? How did this, because it's not like it was a song that I ever played on my own. Like, I never woke up one day at any point in my life and said, gee, I want to hear "We Built This City." I wouldn't even know that it was Starship to look up. But anyway, that happened. Then later on that same day, I don't even know why. I don't usually scroll like the YouTube shorts, but I just happen to be, I think whenever I use it, it's when I launch the application in order to upload a video for the Beyond the Harmony channel, like a short, that I get hit with shorts. And sometimes it's something interesting. So there was this guy that I don't even know how he showed up in my feed, but he was doing this like impersonation of "We Built This City." And I thought, gee, that is pretty bizarre. I was just thinking of the song and now it shows up in my shorts feed and whatever. Then, so I watched it, and the guy also made Bone Thugs and Harmony shorts. So maybe that's why he wound up in my feed. Maybe he's even subscribed to Beyond the Harmony. I should look that up. But then, later that night, I went out to dinner with my wife, and I was telling her, I was like, hey, it's kind of strange that, We built the city came to my mind, and this guy pops up in my feed and he likes Bone. What's the correlation there? And then we talked about Starship and talked about Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship. And anyway, we discussed all that. And there was one other instance that happened. I think it was the song came on when we were at the restaurant. I don't know. We saw it happen again somewhere. But even that's not the craziest part. Then we get home. We're like going to bed. We're going to watch this episode. I think it was episode 3. Maybe it was 4. I can't remember what episode it was. But it was in still the characterization stages of a streaming show. It was the episode where the daughter of the Secret Service agent meets the son of the president, and they're in the library together. And now the president was killed, and the kid feels bad because he was kind of mean to his dad. His dad was always trying to make him 80s mixes, like on CD, like CD mixes of 80s songs. And he was always like, I don't want to hear your old stuff, Dad. But now that his dad's gone, he's like, you know what? I should probably check out his songs. And the girl asks like, hey, so what song you listening to? And he pulls out the CD.
What were you listening to of your dad's lame 80s and 90s rock?
This one?
And it's Starship. And I tell my wife, I go, man, if he's listening to We Built This City, it'll be the craziest thing. And then he presses play, and it's We Built This City. We built this city on rock and roll. And now I'm like, dude, what is going on? And then something else happened the next day, and that song played again. And then something else happened like a week later where that song was mentioned again. Now, I haven't even thought or heard of this song for decades. And I don't even know if I ever thought of the song other than to make jokes about Miami in the 80s being built by laundered drug money into skyscrapers. And I always thought We Built This City on rock and roll was like a tongue-in-cheek of how Miami was built. But that was just me being, self-centered. The world's based on Florida, right? Or South Florida. So that's just a minor coincidence. And I think it even happened a few more times. I looked up, I was like, is this like the 50th anniversary of We Built This City? Because I started to wonder, I'm like, when did that song come out? But it turns out it's like the 40th anniversary. So we're in the year 2025. Apparently that song came out in 1985. And it's the 40th anniversary. So if I'm looking for a skeptical, plausible explanation of how this song is repeatedly showing up in my life everywhere I turn, I could say, well, it's the 40th anniversary. But don't bands generally celebrate the 30th anniversary because that's when like the masters roll over to the original artists, or they celebrate the 50th anniversary or the 25th anniversary. But rarely do you see a 40th anniversary, pop up. So that's the only plausible reason I could think of the song hitting me from every angle. And in episode 6, that's when they printed all the stuff on the sky. They're lying to you. And do you want to know the truth? And it spans across 2 episodes. It's like at the end of one episode and it picks up on the following. And for the show to blatantly say, do you want to know the truth? And they're lying to you. You got to remove yourself out of the drama of the show. So if you're just watching the show, you might just let that slip over your head and not care too much about it. But if you just look at it from the outside looking in and say, all right, what are they saying here? You're in a artificial environment. It's printing. They're lying to you. Do you want to know the truth? And yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of other lies that are told in the show that the people outside are still able to live, even though everybody on the inside is told that they can't, which is a repeating theme in a lot of shows, such as The Island, the movie from like 2005. And you think about it, watch this. As I was watching the show, I thought, the people are told that they can't leave because the outside's contaminated. The Island said that. A couple other shows, the show Silo, everybody was made to believe that the outside was contaminated as well. But then our Earth, they say you can't go to the moon and breathe on the moon, and you can't go to Mars and breathe on Mars, and that all these other planets are uninhabitable. And it's repeated all the time. It doesn't happen as often, but in like the 90s and the 2000s, anytime they would show Mars on television, like a Mars story about a mission to Mars, they'd always make sure to mention, but of course, the atmosphere is unlivable for humans on Mars. They would always like put that in there. And I used to think, man, isn't that suspicious that they keep telling us that? It's not like telling people, hey, don't turn your generators on inside your house because you'll die of carbon monoxide poisoning. Or, hey, don't close the garage door if your car is on because, again, you'll get carbon monoxide poisoning. It's not like something that somebody could do. Okay, nobody could go to Mars. It's not like somebody could just make themselves their own spaceship thinking like, I'm going to go to Mars. And then they get there and take off their helmet and die. It's not a possible thing for anybody to do. And yet it was amazing how many times we remembered. Actually, as I tell you that, you all probably lived that. Do you remember how many times being like, as I'm saying this, you're probably thinking, yeah, that was weird. Why did they keep telling us that you can't breathe the air on Mars? And I'm not saying Mars is even a real place, but in the 90s, I thought it was a real place. And I often wonder like, gee, man, they sure really trying to keep us from going there. So if you watch Paradise, I could sit here and talk all day about it. If you watch the show, just say, look at how the reproduction of our environment was reproduced. Take a look at your actual world and say, hey, how much of this is a facade? Are we living in an artificial enclosed world? Is there lands? But you know what we haven't heard either is we're just told that, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered North and South America, and then Pizarro and Cortez came and went to South America and all that. But we're never really told about what the Europeans thought the totality of the world was prior to discovering the Americas. Although, yeah, I remember being told that people thought you would fall off the edge over the horizon with your boat because they saw boats disappear. It should have been astonishing to discover 2 additional continents. Like if we discovered 2 additional continents, it would blow everybody's mind. So I don't know what pre-1492 thought was of the entirety of the world that we live in. But that's the kind of thing is right now we're certain that there's only 7 continents. Certain that there's nothing else. Even though you can look at some other maps, like the Montes Urbano map, and it's like, hey, it looks like there's some additional lands that we don't have on our maps now. Some might say, oh, well, it's all underwater now. But we're certain that the maps that were designed, the Mercator map was designed in like 1535. I don't know the exact date, but it's sometime in the 1500s. And, I often say the map of our world should have dramatically altered in the year 1952 or whenever Sputnik went into space and whenever NASA started space missions. I used to say, I'm like, you mean to tell me the cartographers, those were the map makers of the 14 and 1500s, they couldn't have possibly got it 100% right. But yet, we haven't modified the map since then. There is like the azimuthal equidistant map that the U.S. Geological Society uses and whatnot. But conspiracy aside, seriously, the map after 1952 should have changed a lot, especially after just basic aviation began. A different cartograph. Maybe those map makers were that good. But I just don't know how they could have possibly knocked it out 100% accurate for us not to update the map for 500 years. They made those maps before air balloons existed, before you really could climb to the top of Mount Everest, before airplanes existed. I don't know how we haven't modified the map of our planet for 500 years, but we haven't. So anyway, watch the show Paradise on Hulu. It's entertaining. It's engaging. There's a lot of twists and turns to the plot. Who cares about that? You'll think of a lot of... When you watch it, though, don't get too absorbed into the storyline. Get absorbed into thinking about what it makes you think about your own Earth. Have it be an exercise to get you to question, how do you know for sure this world we are living in is the world that it actually is? All right, may the force be with you, and I'll see you guys next time.